PARC Essex is a children's charity based at Great Notley Country Park, Braintree. It offers short breaks, stay and play and holiday sessions for children and young adults with additional needs. Each and every person here is extraordinary in their own way, with their own tale to tell. Through these videos, we will tell some of the stories of PARC Essex.
Ed was a young boy I met in my early days with my daughter. We used to meet up at different sports clubs and things where, as parents, we were both in a situation where we had a child that was quite disruptive, quite difficult to handle, and socially we got to know the family through kind of ballpark meetings, and at the time it was before PARC had started, so Ed's dad was one of the very first people involved with trying to build something like PARC. So he was one of the first fundraisers, so we got to know the family.
Everybody knew when Ed was here because he'd make everybody aware that he was. He'd come in with his great big hello that he used to say, and then he'd go off into the session and start throwing some Duplo bricks around for a while.
Any story of Ed will involve the trampoline or Coca-Cola. So every time you hear his pictures, wherever he is, he's always got a bottle of cake or had some pictures with him at some point, just throwing them about.
Oh, there's loads of stories I could probably tell you about Ed, but the one that really sticks out in my mind was actually not too long ago. It was last summer when we took the children on a trip to Chesterton for the day. Every time we went past one of the concession stands, which obviously is quite often at a theme park, he would then jump out of his chair and sprint over to the concession stand and raid every single bottle of Coke he could get his hands on.
And now, just Chesterton is just where we go for Ed, really. Get him in his wheelchair. Every Coke thing you go past, he's trying to grab at it. Every stall, he wants all the Cokes and stuff. And
why was he so cheeky?
Just the way he used to do things. I mean, he'd like throw things across the room and then he'd look at you and be like, hello, like think it was really funny. And he'd know what he was doing, and he'd go up to all the girls and give them hugs and kisses on the cheek. I quite often got a hug and a kiss, which was lovely. He was a big flirt as well. And yeah, he just looking at him, he was just cheeky and he knew exactly what he was doing. Anything he did around the building, he'd sort of like have a cheeky smile on his face.
Ed had severe epilepsy. He also had quite strong autistic behaviours, which meant he was very, very challenging. He had very little understanding of what was going on. He used to, when I knew him, was throwing balls all the time, so if he was sitting with you, he would throw anything at you, and he would run away an awful lot. So Paul and I used to spend a lot of our time running after our children.
Because he was obviously epileptic, I believe that he obviously helped a lot of staff members get trained in epilepsy, because obviously we had to get trained for him. But he gave staff members memories, come here, sort of a sense of belonging.
And every Friday in the summer holidays, you'd just see this image of this boy jumping up and down the trampoline with his bottle of Coke. He's shouting at the top of his voice, hello! And if you didn't do it back, he'd do it louder and more aggressively until you did. And it's just one of them things that'll always stick in my head, this little bouncing young man up and down the trampoline.
What was the funeral like for you?
it was such a sad day. It was a different funeral to any other funeral I've ever been to. I've been to like Nan and Granddad's funerals and stuff, and it was so sad because it was so sad the way he died.
Ed is part of the bricks and mortar of PARC because of the family's involvement from PARC from the very beginning. Ed was one of the very first children that came to PARC. So when we were in our old building, a lot of what we sort of designed around was for children like Ed. So having a child like Ed who used to attend very, very regularly, all the staff got to know him almost like a personal friend. So when Ed passed away, it was literally like a really big segment of PARC kind of died along with him.
He brought so much pleasure and joy to people's lives, and losing him has been one of the toughest things
I think myself and everybody else at PARC has been through. Excuse me. He's just so sorely missed.
We had another member of our youth club die 6 months before, so I think it brought more to the surface about the other one dying as well. Sorry. Just makes you realise how special these kids are, and how just being with them for 3 hours, one night a week, can brighten their whole week. And to know that you're not going to see them again, it just hurts.